We were absolutely treated to some very solid first round matchups. Sometimes you get some lopsided affairs, and we had those as well, but there were some upsets as we welcome you back into Game Time Weekly. I'm Dylan Corbett, your host. So let's get through some of these matchups and including the upsets. Not for Lakefield North, though, as they beat Hopkins 50-7 in their first round matchup. We were all keeping an eye on, is there going to be the rematch? The only loss this year was a pretty, tough one at home to Eastridge. Eastridge gets upset themselves at home in the 5-4 matchup. Winner to face North. Champlain Park beats Eastridge by 2. It was 24-22. So 5-4 matchups. That was the theme of the first round. In fact, 3 5 seeds ended up winning, Champlain Park being one of the firsts. Lakeville South took care of Wyzetta 41-21. Again, South getting hot at the right time, playing some great football. They set up a very intriguing matchup in the 2-3 battle at Anoka. Anoka absolutely crushes their first round opponent in Roseville area. Minnetonka rolled as well, but the surprise certainly was number 5, Rochester Mayo, who we've highlighted have not only piled together a couple of solid wins, but have fought each and every one of their 8 total contests, and they get a statement win, beating Centennial 28-24, and they will face Minnetonka in the next round. Blaine beat Rosemount. Irish, a tough year, very tough schedule. They gave Blaine all they could handle. 38-36. Blaine advances. They'll face Forest Lake, who took care of Buffalo. So 1-5, 3-2 in both those sides of the bracket there, with North and Minnetonka on the left side as the 2 1 seeds. All the 1 seeds ended up winning. Don't want to gatekeep you there. That would have led off certainly our episode this week if that were the case. But certainly some great matchups as we continue. Let's flip over to the other side of the bracket. Mounds View. Um, they are going to take care. In fact, they shut out Coon Rapids and they will face Prior Lake. This is going to be a very intriguing matchup that I had my eye on heading into the matchup. And Prior Lake had one of the more brutal schedules as well. They thump Farmington, who is no slouch either, 42-14, another 5-4 upset. So Prior Lake goes into Farmington and handles business. And now Prior Lake will get a chance at Mounds View, which sets up a very intriguing matchup on paper as well. How about number 6, STMA? This was the biggest upset in terms of seedings, as this is certainly the 2 upsets in this quadrant of the bracket. The most mess so far. STMA number 6 beats Stillwater in the 6-3 matchup 21-14. So STMA, the 6th seed, the lowest seed to advance past the first round, they will face Shakopee. Shakopee, a Game Time Media School, crushes Eastview. We've got your highlights here. So let's take a look at how Shakopee shaped up their first postseason matchup here ahead of their 2-6 matchup with STMA.
This one for the first quarter from Vaughn Field here in Shakopee. Hand off to TJ Clark, who's going to bounce to the outside. TJ Clark is going to be in for a Sabre touchdown. Sabres, so it is a 4th down here. 4th down and 2. And a handoff to Clark, who lunges his way up the middle. And TJ Clark is going to be in for a Shakopee touchdown. It's 2 scores. Eastview defense looking for a 3rd down stop. If it's a handoff to the right, and it's Zach Doctour, who's away with a big run. Doctour down the far sideline and in for the touchdown for the Sabres. To the 40 here, 9:30 to go in this second quarter. On the end around, here goes Emmanuel Tay right down the near sideline and is going to waltz in for the Sabre touchdown. To the 12-yard line on the toss to Zach Doctour, who's around the edge. Doctour across the 5, diving for the pylon, and he got in for the Shakopee touchdown. Sabres going to be looking ahead to either St. Michael Albertville or Stillwater being their round 2 matchup next week, with a nice toss outside and staying in bounds down the field and cutting in away from all the defenders. A touchdown run for Joseph Tay. On Shakopee 56, Eastview 7, our final score.
And here we go with Maple Grove now to round out the state tournament bracket here at 6A. They rolled Burnsville. Eden Prairie beats Woodbury. We've got highlights for that as well. Edina, they beat White Bear Lake 47-19. And then Egan Probably it was the only two seed is what I'm trying to say that had kind of a struggle to get by. All the two seeds advanced. Egan the closest in a 28-20 battle over Osseo. So Osseo, the 28-20 battle, Egan will advance, and Egan faces Edina. So that's going to certainly be a tall task in a 2-3 matchup. Maple Grove faces Eden Prairie. Maple Grove remains unbeaten. They have checked off every box. It's certainly going to be another tall task here against the Eagles, who would love a shot to keep their season alive. Here's how the Eagles won their first round matchup here against Woodbury at home.
It's interesting. Second and goal. Here's Rumpf. Rumpf is going to run over a defender into the end zone. Touchdown, Eden Prairie on their running backs. And they're going to fake it. Bonkum looking, and he's going to throw. He's got a receiver. Touchdown, Eden Prairie. Max Lorenzen, 10 on this play. EP thinking 2 downs. Handoff Fredericks. Fredericks, he's not interested in 2 downs. He's interested in a touchdown, Eden Prairie. But now 41 seconds on the clock. Here's a handoff at Jeremy Fredericks. 15-10-5. Touchdown, Eagles. It's the second one of the quarter for Jeremy Fredericks. Well, man, could be a huge game next week. Here's a handoff to Jeremy, or to who else? Touchdown, Elijah Rumpf. Another handoff to Elijah Rumpf, and you can say goodbye. Elijah Rumpf, a no-doubter, 75-yard touchdown, Eden Prairie. Nice job from Eden Prairie.
And lastly, but certainly not least, Chanhassen, the defending champs. They got to face their rival as Chaska spurned the section quarterfinal upset. Chanhassen, fresh off their bye as the 1 seed, welcomed in Chaska fresh off a couple of weeks that they had just beaten Chaska at their place in a defensive battle. This matchup was certainly the same, as you'll see here with the highlights. Chaska wrapped up what was an insane stretch here of nearly 4 games at a stretch of about 15 total days. So certainly the defense came into play, but they couldn't find any offense outside of 2 field goals, and the champs continued their title defense.
This looks like a very close snap than usual. See if they can get some pressure. Does not want to be in the end zone. They do not bring much pressure, so he'll punt a line drive. It's a great one. And wow, it goes over the head of Jenkins. He's going to receive it. And he is running backwards down. How about that? That punt will work out to almost 80 yards. The tailback. It's a fumbled snap, and Chaska has it. Screen. Pass it. Is that a forward pass? Picked up. They're going to say live football fumble. And now he breaks free. And now there's nobody with him but teammates. This is a Carter Karstens live ball fumble recovery for a touchdown. Kicker, Quinn Meyer. And he shows off the foot. Brace Cade Bush is their running back as he'll line up. And he will get the handoff. And he will find a hole. And he will find the end zone. Cutting up and then bouncing out. Certainly looks good. This to make it a 1-possession game. A little bit of a high snap. This kick looks beautiful. Wow. Yep, that's why he looks as confident. Picks up his tee, ho-hum, 45-yarder. Who's going to take this snap? They're going Wildcat with Ty Jensen. Clokey to the left, Bush to the right. 4th and goal. He keeps it. Speed option. Clokey. Touch. Down. Weber gets the duty of taking one last knee. And the Storm, fresh off the first round bye, take care of their rivals 20-6 again.
It sets up the rematch as Mankato East toppled Mankato West. Of course, Mankato East was in Chanhassen earlier this regular season, and they shut out the Storm in the second half. So certainly the Storm looking for revenge in the section championship, which will be on Friday. Yours truly on the call. Can't wait for that. The Storm looking to defend the section and then advance to the state, to, of course, keep on advancing to state in their title defense here, the Storm. They'll have to beat a team that beat them by a pretty good amount earlier at home. So they'll get to host that once more, but Mankato East certainly knows a thing or two about Chanhassen so far this year with a road victory, but a nice win against Chaska nonetheless. That atmosphere was great, a great visiting crowd. And tough that injuries, again, certainly played a part in that matter for both sides. Apple Valley ended up taking out Two Rivers as we take a look at some of the other 5A. Nothing too sensational there with upsets, but certainly Apple Valley taking out the top seed, and Two Rivers will continue to follow, of course, postseason football all throughout the next couple of weeks. Let's flip over to soccer, though. Lakeville North, the girls, they had their season conclude. They were a state participant, and they faced Egan, a team they drew during the regular season. They fell 3-1 in that state quarterfinal. And Wyzetta now, as the top seed, advanced. They'll face Egan and Eastridge advancing as well as Edina. So all chalk there, 1-4 in the girls' side of the bracket. Minneapolis Washburn on the boys' side will set up a semifinal with Egan. So both the Egan girls and boys representing soccer as semifinalists at state. And then Maple Grove, and the only upset so far in soccer at state, Andover, the random draw victory over Minnetonka 3-2. So now it'll be Maple Grove Andover, and then Minneapolis Washburn Egan for state soccer with the boys. And volleyball sections continue this week. Most into their semifinals, if not finals. Let's highlight a few. Lakeville South will face Farmington on Wednesday. Also on Wednesday, Lakeville North will face New Prague. So potentially setting up a North-South rematch for the section title, as we've come to see so often over the course of the decade or so in that section. Prior Lake has got the bye. They will face number 4 Minnetonka on Tuesday. And then Waconia will face number 3 Chaska also on Tuesday. How did they get there? Well, Chaska beat Eden Prairie. They actually swept them, as did Minnetonka, ending Chanhassen's season in straight sets. There will be a new champ in volleyball. Could it be Coach John Yunker in Champlin Park, who we talked with on the TC Game Time podcast last week? Well, he will not have to go through Wyzetta. He will face Maple Grove in that section final for the right to go back to state, as Wyzetta gets downed in straight sets by Maple Grove, and it sets up Champlin Park, Maple Grove this week as well for the right to go to state. And of course, Champlin Park, the last team not named Wyzetta, all the way back in 2018 to be the state champion of Minnesota volleyball. So wide open now is Wyzetta. They are done. Their title reign is no more, at least for this year. So we will follow that, certainly. Catch the TC Game Time podcast tomorrow as well. Sorry, a little late here on this episode of Game Time Weekly, but hopefully you enjoy on demand, and hope you have a great week. We'll talk to you next Monday.